Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Power to Inspire. I'm joined by a very special guest. She's a dancer, a singer, and a spiritual healer. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much, Caroline. It's a big honor to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. Maybe you could start by telling us a bit about yourself, as in where you're from, and then how you were led onto your spiritual path.
Okay. So I'm born in Morocco, in Casablanca. Moved very early at age 7 to Paris, and I grew up in Paris. I went to uni there. And my spiritual path started when I was 20. It was even before, but I had a big spiritual call when I was 28. So my life was pretty much living in a conservative family, and I had to really perform to be someone. And also moving from Morocco to Paris was a big thing because suddenly I felt I was in a competition world and not in a la la land anymore. So the idea of it was I needed to be someone suddenly in France. And coming from Morocco, also, I had in my mind the fact that women were not leading society and they were really seen as a second class citizen. Okay. So all of that pushed me to finally find a way to have a voice and power in the society. So I didn't think about who I was. I was thinking about how to achieve that. And in that moment, it was to become a banker for me in my head at that age. So anyway, I went to the best school in Paris, got an MBA. So I was really working on everything like that. You know, I had ambitions, a lot of power within myself to accomplish that. So age 28, I'm in Paris. I'm already a director of the biggest brokerage firm in Paris. And that was mad for my age, you know. And at that age, I realized that I was not so happy. I was very happy to achieve something. People were looking at me, wow, what a success. But inside of me, starting some anxiety. And it was really strong. And I could not understand because I was very down to earth, you know. Success is there, but still anxiety came. And then I had really a feeling that I was not living the life that I should live. So these feelings start creeping in me, you know. So I had some kind of weird experience also during my financial years where I really disconnected sometime from the job, and you could not disconnect from that kind of job. And then I start searching, and I start reading spiritual books, and I start being in churches and having this mystical attraction. And I had a huge spiritual call. I cannot explain that. More than that, that's this huge energy in yourself, this attraction to understanding what is life. Who am I supposed to be in this life? Why I'm not happy to make money so early on? Why I'm not happy to be this young, successful banker or whatever it was? And I had to let go. So it's very interesting because one day I woke up and I had this huge courage to just say, I'm done with the job. I'm sorry, guys. I need to leave. And everybody thought I was completely mental at that moment. But I was really driven by a fire, by a courage within myself to finally find what is the meaning of my life. You know, instead of being running around, trying to be the best banker, broker, always I was always looking at my how I dress up, how I show myself to people, but never looked at who I was and what was going on inside myself. So I had this courage, but the courage came from something that I could not avoid, which is anxiety, which is I don't understand what's going on. Voilà. So that started like that. And when I quit, I took a part-time job from home for a Russian bank at the time. So I was working from home. And then at that moment, I received the gift of writing. So I started to write about what was life. what I was meant to be, why I had this emotion, why I had this behavior that made me really unhappy. And the more I was searching, the more I was receiving and receiving. And then it became like going to a new school in my life, but I was just writing and receiving. And that's, I mean, I can say today it was channeling and receiving answers from my spiritual guidance. But at the time, I had no clue. I was totally in a new environment, spiritual environment.
Yeah.
And I read a lot, different schools, because I was very keen on not falling under a special school or a special teacher. I felt I needed to be really enriched by different cultural spiritualities. Yeah.
It's amazing. So when you went through that kind of anxiety and shift, how did you have the courage to tell the world this, the world that you had been trying so hard to please, be it your parents, be it whoever? You know, that I think is something that often will hold people back from honoring those feelings or that calling that they might be receiving. So how did you navigate that?
Okay. So I think that, as I said, the courage comes from the level of the strength and the force that is within yourself. You know, like there is no way to negotiate inside myself. It's this, or I'm really strangled.
Hmm.
I'm
Like you
choking. I have
can't breathe otherwise.
no more
Mm.
oxygen. You know, I could not wake up to go to the office. I was not smiling anymore. So you feel that level of happiness is going so low,
Mhm.
and also I think I was so passionate and obsessed by spirituality
Mm.
that I could not comply anymore. And yes, you have to face the judgment of people. At that time, I mean, it was 30 years ago. Huh? It
Mhm.
was hard in
Mm.
Paris,
Mhm.
even more, because I felt like France was a bit very closed minded at the time.
Mhm.
You need to listen to what is in yourself,
Mhm.
because if you don't, you're just going to pass your life. Your life is going to say bye to you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm talking to people here. It's like, really, if you have a call within yourself, it's not an accident. It's not coming like just to have fun and this call was just having a boring life. It's just coming for you. And this is your soul. And this is God. It is whatever you call it. It's
Mhm.
universe, God, universal force. It's your moment. Take it. And the way is, it's very interesting because your soul has a plan. Your soul knows when it's the time. So very often as human being, what we tend to do is like, okay, this is weird, let's forget about it, right? So and it comes once and then a second time and third time until it's like a big boom. So you cannot escape it. So I think that sometimes we don't have the courage, but it's building with life, you know. And I'm not advising people to jump into a new life. I'm always advising to let it be really being incremental. Like, okay, I know something is brewing in me. I know my life is not right now, but I'm learning on both sides until the new side of myself is strong enough, courageous enough, so I can go in front of people and say, I'm going to try that in my life. You can judge me, but that's your problem. I need to try this new life. And then you try. But you don't need to jump as I did because I was also very young in a way. And but it's rare that it comes so early. I agree. New generation is becoming more and more spiritual, by the
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well.
Hmm.
So you have the spiritual calling. You eventually become a spiritual healer. So where was the that transition where you decided that you're going to start healing other people in their spirituality?
So that came naturally. It was very organic because what happened is like I was writing every day. That was my schooling, really, and my healing and clearing. So it was a long work of clearing myself from my ego. So I started to realize how much I was living a life that was not mine, you know? How I want to be so strong, a banker and having power. But at the same time, it was not me. It was like some kind of different personality, that it was not me, that was not me. So you were asking me that.
How did you then transition to becoming a
Yeah,
spiritual
so it
healer?
came really organically because
Yeah,
as I was writing and writing, I really felt that what I was writing was not for me. It was really universal. I was always asking or writing about one emotion, how to deal with it. And then I was always answered in a very universal way. And I was starting to give it to people around me. And then it started the whole cycle of people asking me, can you help me? And then whatever I was learning, I was giving. And then it started to be like spiritual session. And then I could view where was my gift was bringing people back to their soul and what was meant to be for themselves, which is a journey. It's not like in, you know what I mean? It's a
of course.
building process.
Yeah, totally.
Mm,
I've heard you speak about the inner child. Like,
mm.
how does that come into play? Because I think that's something that we hear in even pop culture, like reparent yourself, heal your inner child. But I'm not sure that people actually know what that means.
Okay, so um, the inner child is the core of who you are and is the core of the spiritual process also. So when we land in this life as a human being, the soul really is welcome in a body of a child, of a baby. And what happened is that the child is welcomed, received in a family or institution sometime. And this family brings to this child a lot of conditions. It brings and it offers a role, and it's very defined. And it's very defined by the parents' personalities, their condition, their judgment, their view of life, the siblings, the position in the family, etc., etc. So basically, at that moment, the soul, who is a very free spirit, full of energy, full of gifts, and coming for a journey of a mission or learning, whatever it is not able, is not free to express. So the child is faced with a very limiting landscape of behavior. So when this child is asked to be this or that, when this child is becoming to become someone else, he's therefore very limited to be who he is. Okay. So, therefore, in this moment, the child will receive orders, whether it's conscious or unconscious, by the way, you cannot behave like this or you can behave like this, whatever. So, the child has to comply, the child has to exist and survive in this environment, and therefore will try to be himself or herself at the beginning, but will see that it doesn't work, cannot be loved this way. So it will create a lot of frustration, a lot of limitation. The child will start to change his habit, not habits, his behavior, his natural behavior. It will construct patterns of protection. Okay, I cannot be who I am. I'm frustrated. I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to become whoever they want me to be. And this is unconscious, by the way. It can look very conscious at the beginning, but then the child forget about all these patterns of behavior that he decided to take on, right? So in early childhood, there is this bank of energies and memories about where and when the child decided to transform himself into something that he's not. So it's going to be a lot of energy of not being who I am, frustration, anger, etc., etc. And then on top of that, there will be a lot of creation of new behavior, new traits of personality, so he can fit in the society. Okay. So the inner child, what is the inner child? The inner child is this really very trunk of emotion, memories, definition of personality. It's a trunk, it's like a literal box of energy that is within ourselves, that is defining this whole period of trying to fit and how we are behind. So it's super important to go back and be able to reveal stuff, to release those frustration, to remember why you were like this and why you were not like this, and what did you bring to the world? What are the dreams of the children of the child? Where were you really happy to do? Where what kind of game did you enjoy? What kind of people did you enjoy? Did you talk to spirit or whatever, or to plants, or yeah? So it's so much information there, but also so much energy that is blocked there. And what happened is like this is forgotten. I mean, you know that children have a capacity to forget stuff that they don't like or they are afraid of them, and trauma are like this, you know. So this is creating conditions all our lives. So we are living and experiencing life through the scope of the limitation of the child. So why is it important? Because you are not living a full free life,
Absolutely.
because since childhood you have been conditioned.
Yes.
Voila.
I think that that's, I mean, everyone goes through that, right?
Yeah,
And so many people say, like, oh, I'm such a people pleaser. It's like, no, like, actually, everyone's taught to please from
totally.
such a young age
Yeah,
in whatever, respect, whether it's the parents or at school or whatever that might be, or friends to be approved or things like that.
because there's no choice.
Yeah. It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
hmm So then when you become conscious of that, and then you try and go back and then say, okay, let's remove all of those conditions, which, I mean, obviously you can't go back in the past and change that. But I guess, are you trying to then apply it to who you are today and then removing those conditions to allow yourself to fully express yourself
Yeah.
individually?
So that's the work of the inner child
Right.
healing.
Yeah.
That's something I do, in my workshops and in my webinar.
Mm-hmm.
And so this work is very deep, and I think it's hard not to do it in a life today, because you really want to really tap into your potential. And we know when we are in doing a project or in a relationship, we see these limits inside ourselves that are unconscious, this behavior. And this is the moment to really reevaluate why, and go back into that incredible potential of release, healing, and tap into your potential that is behind that. But there is something very important, is that it doesn't need to define you for the rest of your life.
Right.
It defines you only if you stay unconscious, but it doesn't need to define you. You are not defined by your traumas. And this is very important. And I use this word, it's very heavy word, trauma starts with a very small thing to a very big thing. But we are all, in a way, holding these energies of trauma within ourselves, where we are just had to forget who we were at one point. And the very important work is to remember we are not defined by it and move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially, when you were talking about the receiving that you said you were writing
Yeah.
and you were receiving.
Yeah.
So when you decide to let go of these conditions, you're not defined by your trauma. Is this a space in which, maybe someone would be like, well, I don't know what to do next because I've been operating in this construct of trying to please everyone my whole life. But do you then receive inspiration or information as to what resonates with your soul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're talking about people in general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a natural effect of releasing energy.
Mm.
There are many components to the spiritual progress
Mm-hmm.
process, whatever you want to say. Is that when you're able, when you see that you're suffering of something, you understand there is a limitation that you are not able to see right now, but it goes back in the past, right?
Okay.
So when you release that, or when you get to know it, then you are going to release a space in yourself. And this space is not void. the space is calling for the energy of your soul behind. And this is really magical, because the more you release this level of freedom within yourself by healing yourself,
Mhm.
the more you're going to be able to be receiving your intuition, your inspiration. This is literally like a room, you know. You just clear away what doesn't work and what is too old, and then you have a free space to bring a new sofa. You know what?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
crazy to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that, but it's true. And also, we are energy. And so if you imagine that the inner child is blocked somewhere, somehow, it's also in your body, it's also in your consciousness. So when you free this zone, there is an incredible rush of new energy coming to you. So that's one. On the other side, it's also about wellness and well-being, right? The more you cultivate your good energy, the more you are in tune with your soul, the more you are in tune with your intuition and your inspiration. So it's really like a circle of energy and effects within yourself. And then it's a will, it's a desire to go forward and find your inspiration.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When people talk about manifesting abundance, and that can mean many things, whether it's like an abundance of love or health or wealth, even, which is one that I think often, makes people trip up a bit because they're not sure how to attract that wealth into their life. Like how does this creation of abundance tie into the spiritual work? And do you think that everyone has access to that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're all the same. It's so funny. So basically, yeah. So we're going back again. Abundance. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the
Mm-hmm.
topic you want to touch, right? Is is the natural. I was going to say right. It's even stronger than that. Is the natural nature of the soul. The soul is only energy and infinite energy. It's a piece of the universe, right? Of the goddess, goddess energy. So there is no limit, well, and soul is a creator. It is using the energy of the universe and creating. Okay. When we come in 3D in this manifested world, everything is material, okay? And we live in a consciousness of limitation, which is time, which is space. And then we are raised by egos into really how can I create the most material for me? And then you start to feel you're not enough, you start to compete, you start to struggle. So we are raised in this consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is creating, same thing with the child, this is creating a consciousness of lack.
Mm-hmm.
We are all raised in the consciousness of lack,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the big drama, basically. So then some people will believe in themselves and create because they believe in themselves, they're strong, etc. It doesn't mean they're creating for their soul.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you tap into this abundance of the soul, you're going to be aligned with your soul and you're going to create what is good for you and the world. It goes together.
Mm-hmm.
This is pure, I was going to say spiritual mathematics.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, you can be an incredible creator on the ego level. Because if you have this incredible ambition and you put your whole energy in it, it will manifest.
Mm.
Now, is it aligning with your well-being, your soul, your alignment? I'm not so sure. And that's what I experienced when I was young. I really created this huge job, blah, blah, blah. Where was I? In anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that,
Yeah.
because this is the opposite of abundance, because
Right.
life felt really miserable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think yes, we have. That's nature of our life is abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Mm-hmm.
this the nature of who we are?
Okay, so what type of practices do you have to take care of your own well-being?
Okay, so I have many practices, and it's been all my life. So my own practice is usually I wake up and I immediately do yoga, uh, like 30 minutes of yoga where I really breathe, stretch my body, prepare myself for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot start a day without that. I always finish with like a mini meditation of 5 or 10 minutes, and it's putting me back into my body. And also putting me back into the belief that I'm fine, I'm safe, I'm happy, I'm connecting to myself and my soul and my inner self.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not jumping into my worries. So that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Is really to hone the positive energy right when you wake up.
Mm.
So then I have many practices because I'm a dancer. So yeah, so after my yoga, shower, breakfast, writing. So it's my second meditation. I write,
Wow.
I meditate, I receive. So that's my way of, I need to feel what energy is coming to me, what kind of day it is, what energy I am wearing, what is
Mm.
going on with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start the day without knowing what's going on with yourself and with the energy of the world,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be like passively react to the day
Right.
because you don't know. You're like, okay, people are calling me. I don't know what energy I'm wearing, I'm having, I'm living right now. So I'm kind of reacting. And my work in the morning is to really embody what I am, how I am. I mean, deal with the problems within myself,
Mm.
and then be able to know what energy
Mm.
I am in
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm able to do. Like, I'm a warrior today. I'm very soft today. I am able to really work hard. I'm not able. I have,
Mm.
some issue, whatever it is, but I know. The minute you know, you can really be powerful in your day.
Mm. It's so nice that you honor that, because I think there's this concept that you have to like curate your energy to match what you think it should be for the day, but to actually honor how you're feeling is
Yes.
quite beautiful.
Yeah.
So you do that through journaling then?
Yeah. I feel it. I journal. I have my spiritual cards that I pull every day, and it give me
Nice.
the. This is. It used to be on the phone. Now it's in cards, and this is crucial. And it's very funny because it really helps you be guided by an
Guides you.
energy of,
Right.
okay, today you need to heal this. Today you're a warrior today, and it's help you. It
Mm.
really help you to be guided by something else
Mm.
also,
Mm.
and it really allow you to be on top of stuff and not under and reacting to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is wake up, cultivate your positivity, your well-being. You're stretching your body, you tapping your body, you're brushing your skin, taking a great cold shower,
Mm-hmm.
having a great breakfast. It's important. You're honoring your day,
Yeah.
and then from that you can create an amazing day.
Mm. That's so beautiful.
Mm.
And then as the rest of the day goes, you let's say you do your work, you dance. So
Yeah,
is
I
that
dance.
something that
So
you
dancing is really I mean, I'm really lucky to have that in my life because it's allowing my body to be in great shape, great energy, and it brings high energy to my soul because the body is the receptacle of everything, but also is the manifestation of your soul. So there is this constant language and conversation between your body and your soul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe in having a beautiful body and a soul that is hidden somewhere in a corner, or the opposite.
Right.
I don't believe in people who are completely spiritual and forgetting their body.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just an illusion. So
Mm.
that's why the work of both is super important. And what is very important for me and for everyone is that you have to know how to check during the day how you feel.
Mm.
If you need to have 5 minutes by yourself just to reconnect to your positivity because you went through something hard, you need to breathe 5 minutes. You need to get out of your office, walk,
Mhm.
change your energy.
Yeah.
This is super important, not to be swollen by the turmoil of your life and
Mhm.
whatever is going on. Just put a pause. Every so often you need it
Mhm. For
because
sure.
it's super important. Like sometimes I just have moment of solitude during my day in between meetings, or sometimes I need to have my lunch alone just to come back to my center. It's very
Check in with yourself.
important.
Yeah.
And then the night also
Mm.
something like a checking or a mini meditation or long meditation. I think we need to really being able to create our best days.
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds phenomenal. So talking about the dancing, because I mean, watching you perform is so beautiful and really impressive, and I find it really inspiring how you're able to command that level of power on the stage, which would probably scare a lot of people. How are you able to go out there, and it's like the full stage of people who are really just supporting your performance in a way, and how do you carry that?
This is my passion. This is really burning within myself. I cannot tell you when I'm listen, I started to dance professionally when I was 35 because again, I was in this traditional setting and dancing was not an option, you know.
Mm,
So it took me so long to come to that point of becoming a real dancer. And it came because it could not go anywhere else. It's like, okay, I need to dance on stage. I knew it. And
amazing.
this is about knowing who you are. And that's the beauty of it. Is the more you want to know who you are, the more you're gonna get it, and then the inspiration come. And for me, being on stage is part of me, and I need that energy. I need to share that energy and that power. And you're right. Um, I don't know how to explain that, but it's also very spiritual to be on stage for me. So it's this it's this sharing of this very high energy makes me super happy, and I see also how it inspires people
Mm-hmm.
in the room. I
Mm-hmm.
can feel their
Mm-hmm.
joy or they're shocked or whatever it is, and
Mm.
it's great. I
Do you feel like you're channeling something bigger?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you're on stage, you feel their high energy is coming to you. It's something bigger for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, I know it's frightening for people, but me too. I'm super frightened before I go on stage. It's not
Okay.
like, but you tame the lion, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't pay attention, then you're very unhappy. So, what do you prefer? Being in fear or being unhappy?
Like, as in, if you don't express that
Yeah,
passion of yours, you'll be unhappy. So you may as
super
well
unhappy.
supersede the fear in order to express it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so you have to choose
yeah,
between the big stress of the fear
yeah.
or the big unhappiness
Right.
of not expressing who you are. You have to choose.
Absolutely.
So choosing who you are is bringing a lot of fears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then let's transition that to the singing and the use of your voice, which is also something that can scare people.
Yeah.
So, how did you
How did
how
you?
did you navigate that as well?
So the voice came naturally with my spiritual healing and guiding meditation and guiding people. I really felt that my voice was a vibration, a tone that was helping people to go deep. And anyway, in my show, I always wanted to sing, and I was asked to sing. So, and then I felt like what this is was merging into something bigger than I was expecting. That the voice and expressing through the voice is such a divine way of expressing your own energy. And I really think that we all need to sing to let that energy release from the deep of who we are, with the depths of who we are. And for me, it's when I sing, it's exactly like dancing. It's like this calling of energy and sharing. And actually, I enjoy it so much more and more now. But I know it's been a very intense inner work for me to be able to release it and express it. I felt I was not entitled to. Like an imposter again, and the imposter syndrome. So many people live that and feel that, and I experienced that many times with singing until I realized that this is really high energy, and I can't continue to judge myself and feel I'm not right on that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
So some people say that like your chakras can be blocked, and like that the throat chakra might be blocked for some people who aren't comfortable using their voice. I know that you do touch on the chakras, like with,
yes.
yeah. So what is your relationship to the chakras like in your day-to-day life?
My chakra. So, in my work, I always need to help people unblock their chakras to access the work I'm doing with them to reach their soul.
Mm.
because it feels to me like it's the entrance of the high energy in your body, and also it's a communication with your higher self, you know. So it's, for me, clearing the chakra allows you to really access your higher energy in your whole matrix of energy that you are. So the chakras are all these 7 points, and there are many more. There are the 7 points of what we know as, you know, it's like a point of access of high energy that goes into your body, and it connects you to your higher consciousness. So it's a point of circulation. So yes, we need to clear them. So how do I do? In the morning, in my meditation, I breathe into them consciously every morning,
Nice.
and I clear the space. Like I'm, I'm, so it's like my
Cleaning the
shower,
room.
huh?
Yeah,
It's
cleaning
like,
the room. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I swear, the more you do it, the more you're going to feel it, like in your crown chakra, your throat chakra. And it's very good because it reveals you where you are holding energy, where
Yeah.
you are just not allowing the flow. And it's very, very good.
That's
It's
amazing.
good for your body, it's good for your soul.
That's great. For me, you're like an example of like such like beautifully and gracefully aging, because you look super gorgeous and young, and
Thank you.
you know that you're still doing things that maybe society would not expect someone to do, learning to dance at 35, or
Yeah,
things like this,
yeah,
that I think it's so important for us to continue living our life the whole time.
oh yeah.
So what would be your view on aging, or your message to people on that?
So first of all, you need to remember that the soul has no age.
Mm.
Age has been invented by our way of being a human being, okay? And they decided that age 50 you can't be a dancer. Age 60 you can't be sexy. I mean, they
Mm.
decided things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then menopause became a big trauma for women. Like age
Right.
50, they think that they're good to go to, not, don't want to say the bean, but to the corner of the room,
Right.
right? You're not visible, etc.,
Yes.
etc., etc. So all of these are just defined by the society, that is defined by limitation, by ego, by evidently male energy society, etc. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go into this negative thinking. I want to go into what I feel and what I know.
Mm.
So when you work on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
everything we said before, when you work on your high energy, when you work on your healing, on your releasing the limitation, you are really on this cycle of expansion, and you want to know more, and you want to expand more, and you want to be more free, and you're going to receive more high energy, and you're going to receive more inspiration, and then suddenly your soul is going to bring you to become a dancer or a painter or whatever. And then this, when you are in this state of energy, you don't think age.
Mm.
There is no age, no year. When I am in this set of mind, I don't remember what age I am. I don't
Mm.
remember what year we are. I'm just living
Mm-hmm.
my life, and I'm
Mm.
living my high energy.
Mm.
Okay. And then I want to create, then I want to do. And actually, I'm really hungry for more. And I don't think, well, when I'm not well and I'm under my low emotion, I'm angry, I'm afraid, and whatever, I need to reach, I know I'm in the process of, I need to heal something. When I'm there, I'm suddenly so old, so tired, so afraid. Oh, yes, maybe they're right. I should look at menopause, whatever. I'm down under a really pile of a lot of fears from society. And then I believe that if people are in that state and they are in the vicious circle of that,
Yes.
they age.
Yeah.
You age because you're worried and you believe that.
Mm.
But when you go back to your spiritual freedom
Mm-hmm.
and learning and expansion of your consciousness, of your reaching this energy of inspiration,
Yeah.
oh my God, you don't feel aging, and you don't think aging, and you create.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are young.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah, that's like the work that you do that brings you back to that place.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's why spiritual work is definitely getting you into that young mentality
Right.
forever.
Right. So, what would you say to people that are in relationships? They'll be living with someone, or, whether they're married or whatever, and we're on different paths or points in our spiritual growth and journey.
Mm.
And how do you not let the other person's energy maybe bring you down or affect you? How would you recommend?
Oh, I would say that there is no accident when you are in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
People are always bringing to your consciousness what you need to learn, what you need to heal,
Mm.
when you need to expand. Okay.
Okay.
And then when you have understood that, they're going to trigger you and then you say, okay, he's showing me that I need to work on that. He's rude today and it's touching me. I need to learn what's going on, why I'm weak on that, why I'm sensitive on that. So you learn
Mm.
to detach
Mm.
and to know that it's the road to growing more and then reaching a state of balance and distance to your partner or your relationship that is trying to trigger you. Once you learn that, you're going to be less triggered, you're going to find your detachment, and in your detachment you're going to be stronger,
Mm.
and you're going to know that what's happening in front of you is not you, it's just a mirror. But then the mirror is going to feel like, oh, it's not touching me anymore, so the person will stop mirroring that. It will create, yeah, it will create an effect of cause and effect. If you're not interested, the trigger won't come anymore.
Oh,
But
interesting.
it's very important to know that it's a trigger to heal yourself, to grow stronger, and you cannot change people growth in spiritual growth. You can only be yourself
Mm.
and grow and expand and shine your light
Like
and
lead by example in a
yes,
way.
lead by example,
Mm.
and then transform the relationship like that
Mm-hmm.
and then see where it goes.
Mm. That's amazing.
Mm.
And then the expression of love within that is part of that acceptance of the other person, where you're not trying to change them.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the
Yeah.
unconditional
Mm-hmm.
love, for instance,
Yeah,
is not putting conditions on them for the love, but accepting
exactly. But the condition on them is condition on you.
them.
If you try to change someone, then you're putting some harsh energy in the relationship, and then it goes on you.
Mm.
You cannot change anyone. You cannot put condition on people because then it turns. It's if you try to control, the control is coming on you.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's learning how to be in your own individual and free energy and being able to share and shine
Mm-hmm.
and not controlling anybody.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a concept of co-creation
Mm-hmm.
that I've heard before that I find quite interesting. So it's like you're both creators and you're co-creating a life. So you're both
Yeah.
responsible for your own high energy, I suppose, but then you come together to create.
Ah, you mean with a partner?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So that's yeah, absolutely. So the for me, co-creation is more with God.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can partner with someone as
Oh,
a
that's a
human
great way of
being. You
looking at it.
understand?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's really nice.
yeah. That's how I see it. And then
Yeah.
it has to be a balance
Yeah.
for sure. Always checking on the balance.
Yeah.
But I think it's also respecting people's lives, energy, and giving freely then. And you
Mm-hmm.
cannot give freely if you're expecting someone to give you something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So any kind of control condition will always put you in a state of demand, which is not a state of freedom,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lack of energy within yourself, of self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
self judgment. Then you judge that you need something else. So it's
Mm-hmm.
another subject, which
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
a long subject.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the spiritual progress bring you to that freedom and this independence of energy. And then you can really love unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to love unconditionally if you're expecting anything from someone.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, from being a banker to spiritual healer, performer, what is now your definition of success that you would share?
For me, success is quite, I think that enjoying your life
Yeah.
is success,
Mm,
whatever it is.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because I mean, human ego success with depression or anxiety are not enjoying the moment. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a wrong definition. For me, it's enjoying your moment, loving people, loving who you are,
Mm-hmm.
loving every moment, everything you eat, everything you do, loving the sunshine, loving the rain, enjoying.
Mm. Touching back on the concept of the inner child that you explained so beautifully. Now, as a parent, how are you supposed to be raising these children? Are you supposed to not be putting conditions on them so that it doesn't stifle their freedom?
I know. So it's a difficult one, very,
Mm-hmm.
because as a spiritual parent, you want to bring to them an environment that gives them freedom
Mm-hmm.
and let that soul express.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you need your child to be living in human society, which is not free, which
Mm-hmm.
is full of condition and fears. So you need to tell them, be free, but be aware. This world is like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to survive in it. And in a way, you need to teach them this freedom and this trust in themselves of abundance, of free flow, etc. But the world is different. So you need to show them both.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for me, spiritual parenting is the most tricky thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great learning, and know that your children are your teacher.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
say that all the time. It's the greatest catalyst for
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
totally.
yeah.
Amazing. So, I don't know if there's any last messages you'd like to share or just, overall something that inspires you.
I think you are inspired, all of you.
Mm,
And it's just remembering that you are inspired, that there is something in yourself that is burning and waiting for you
mm,
to be touched. It's just a matter of knowing it, of trusting. You didn't you didn't come here to suffer.
mm,
You didn't come here to go to the mine and mining your life.
mm,
This is a land of pleasure and enjoyment.
mm,
And once you know that, you have access to your gifts, to your inspiration every day. It doesn't mean that life is easy. It means that you bring sun to your days every day when you're inspired, and you have access to that.
mm. I love that. And that's so perfect. So, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
that. And thank you all for joining us for this episode of The Power to Inspire.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you so much.